Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel, and hope you all had a great weekend. Got a lot to cover today, and these are some of my favorite shows because we get into the word as well as connect these things to what we're seeing in our current times. Now, I want to thank the subscriber who alerted me to the fact that the new Matrix movie trailer released on 9/9. Now, why is that significant? Well, 9/9 is 99 red balloons. And sure enough, the trailer actually reveals a scene which appears to be the 99 red balloons. Now, this is super creepy, and we're going to get into the significance of what all this means as we begin to break down these memes. Now, what do I mean by 99 red balloons? Well, it is an occult meme that we discovered way back in 2017 that seemed to symbolize the coming spamdemic. And we'll get more into that later in the show today. So let's go back to these Matrix films and try to recap the plot and also see how that fits into the 99 red balloon revelations. So, of course, The Matrix was all about Neo. Neo was the main character, played by Keanu Reeves, and basically he was faced with the choice of whether or not he wanted to see the truth. And Neo had to make a choice. He was presented with either a blue pill or a red pill. As you can see here, it says the choice is yours. Matrix Resurrections. Now, what was the choice? Well, the choice was to be able to see behind the facade of our reality. Behind the facade to a darker spiritual reality. To see and understand that everything that we see is an illusion to keep us asleep. And also what was revealed to Neo is that our bodies are spiritual batteries. Used as food or power, energy for the devil or for evil. And all of us are paralyzed beneath this lie as our soul energy is siphoned off into the Matrix. So, Matrix Resurrections, what does it mean? Well, we've done a lot of Matrix decodes over the years, and we've discovered many things, have we not? But here's what it all boils down to. There is a race of beings, the Copper Blue Bloods, and they run this reality. Many of you will remember this scene from the Matrix franchise where Morpheus holds up the copper battery. Well, this scene means so much more than you could ever imagine, and I'm going to explain it to you. Now, one of the makers of the Duracell copper top battery was born on 11/11, and he died on 11/16. Now, November is the 9th month in the Julian calendar, so what you're seeing here are lots and lots of 9s and 11s, and in fact, the Duracell bunny made its debut in the 1970s. 1973 to be exact, which just so happens to be the year that the two buildings opened. Now, what does all this have to do with anything? Well, as I said, blue blood is copper-based blood. And I believe that it is a component that's necessary for demon possession. In fact, when Jesus was casting out demons, the Pharisees accused him of channeling the demon Beelzebub. Remember that? And Beelzebub actually translates to Lord of the Flies or Lord of Excrement. Well, when you look in the English language and look at the word Beelzebub, it scrambles to the word blue bees. blue bees. Now, bees is spelled differently. It's B-B-E-E-Z when you scramble it. But when you do a simple image search for the phrase Beelzebub and fly, as you can see that I've done here, all of a sudden you get a bunch of blue bees. Now, why do you think that is? Because maybe this was the joke all along. Maybe this is why they named bees bees, because it's scrambled Beelzebub. Unbelievable. Now, on a side note, here's a good question. Do you believe that as followers of Christ, we have the ability to cast out demons? Put your response in the chat, because I found some scriptures during this research on Beelzebub and casting out demons and all of this, because there are a lot of faiths, Christian faiths, denominations that do not believe that we have the ability to cast out demons. They believe that this ability ended with Jesus and the disciples, and once their generation was gone, we no longer have this ability. So let me go back in the chat here and see what you guys think. Do we have the ability to cast out demons? Now, this is not a trick question. Most people either believe we do or believe we don't. And I'm going to show you some scriptures that I found just in this research of casting out demons that seem to say that we actually do. Everyone says yes. Now, this is interesting. My mother's JW, as you guys know. We've had discussions, and her faith believes that we do not. They believe this ended with the generation of the disciples. But here is a quick passage in which, this is Luke 9. I don't know how this translates in other versions of the Bible, but here's the King James Version. And here's what it says about casting out demons. In Luke 9, Jesus gives the 12 disciples power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. But if you keep reading later in Luke 9, there's an interesting passage. I'm just going to read it straight from the text. And it says here, "And John answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and we forbade him, because he followeth not with us. And Jesus said unto them, Forbid him not, for he that is not against us is for us." So here's a specific case in the Bible, someone outside of Jesus and the disciples group using Jesus' name to cast out devils, and Jesus said that was okay and that was possible to happen. So this is interesting, isn't it? Now, of course, some faiths take this too far. We all know the examples, but here Jesus is clearly rebuking the disciples, saying, let him do it. If he is not against us, he is for us. The scripture's very, very clear here. Now, back to the matrix, because copper, we talked about the copper and the blue bloods, has some very bizarre characteristics. And this will help us to shed some light on what this is all about. Now, we're gonna play parts of this video that show how copper reacts to a special kind of magnet. I'm going to put on the closed caption here. I don't want to get a copy right from this guy, but I do want to play parts of this video. Now, everything you're going to see here is in real time. It's not in slow motion. It's not in fast motion. This is real time. Let's play some of this through here. That is a neomagnet, it's called. And this is going to fit into the matrix in a second here, as you're going to see. But there is a neodymium magnet. And this over here on the right is a piece of solid copper. Now remember, Neo is Neo from The Matrix. Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix. Watch this. This is real time. That is bizarre. That is creepy, is what it is. Just skipping through this so I don't pick up any copyright from this guy. Now, in this particular video. The guy even says that this is like Neo from the Matrix. And here's the scientific reason he gives for it. And I don't know if I buy this, but it says that basically electricity is, there's a magnetic field that moves through the copper and many other metals that causes electrons to reorganize themselves and flow in a circular pattern perpendicular to the oncoming magnetic field, which causes this levitation effect. Now, the science that you're looking at here is the basis by which engines were created, generators or turbines. They can create electricity out of nothing. Does this sound to you like some kind of sorcery? It sure does to me. Trains that levitate on tracks also used this technology. This is crazy, you guys. Now, think about how Neo was able to repel copper-cased bullets. So what is Neo really? Neo is the magnet. So let's watch some more of this. This is just otherworldly. Now, I've shown you clips of this before. And this one, they drop this tube, the Neo magnet through this tube with the circuit broken. But when they, and all this is coiled, continuous copper cable. And when he touches them together, again, you get this levitation effect, and it also produces power. Watch this. So then he connects these together. He drops the thing through, and it slows down just like before. Then he connects a light to it, and the light actually, it generates power just by simply passing a magnet through copper. They make power. Now, this is basically creating energy out of nothing, right? Now that I have your attention and you understand that we don't just make these things up, there is something behind all this. Let's look at the magnetic field of a neodymium magnet. This is the magnetic field of a neodymium magnet. And many of you have seen this image before. What is this image? Doesn't it look familiar? The magnetic field around the neodymium magnet? Well, it's the star spin in the night sky. There used to be you could play this on this image here, but this is it. This is the magnetic field of the night sky. Now, we were told before that this all had to do with the shape of the earth and this and that. No, this is the magnetic field in the night sky. It's this. This is what you're looking at. And what do we see here? A flat disk magnet, don't we? Now, what is this image exactly? Well, this is what's called a panoramic. So in other words, they had a camera set up to automatically basically zoom all the way across the horizon. And it's actually not stop motion, I'm sorry. It's actually also panoramic. What's the other thing it is? It should say right here. And it's also basically takes the film all the way through the night and then puts it into one continuous picture, an image. Forget what that's called. But anyway, you guys know what it is, right? And so what is revealed here are what appear to be a magnetic field as well as owl eyes. Because imagine that the horizon line here, this is the horizon, is taken away. What would you see? You would see this continue on around the bottom. Now, this only occurs at the equator. If you're anywhere away from the equator, then you're only going to see one of these circular patterns. But if you're at the equator, you could be in Ecuador, you can be in parts of Africa, and you were to do this stop motion panoramic view, you would see exactly this. If you take away the floor, take away the horizon, it will continue to spin around, and there you have your magnetic field. Now, what does all that mean? Well, let's keep going with this. Time lapse is what I meant to say. Time lapse photography. Now, what we're seeing is not because of the shape of the Earth and it being what we're told it is. We're seeing what we're seeing because it's a magnetic field illusion. And this is our prison. The eyes of Molech, the Molechi way. The valley of the shadow of death, described by David in the Psalms. And what does this magnetic field do? It obscures the true glory of heaven. It's basically a prison. So now you know who Neo is. So what are these red balloons? What is that all about? Let's go back here and play the scene from the Matrix trailer. Now, as you can see here, this is coming out at Christmas. It's actually coming out on the winter solstice. And you'll notice that there are these red balloon and what appear to be these tree-like structures. Now, it's weird because why would the balloons be red? Why would they be red in this trailer here? Because aren't the people that are in the red balloons, didn't they take the blue pill? Neo had to take the red pill to know the truth. Well, it's all about opposites and polarity, right? I just got done telling you that a neodymium magnet has two poles to it. It has poles and polarity. So you can see how this would be in the opposite, right? So these are all the people that took the blue pill. They're stuck in these trees. Remember I told you we're stuck in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Well, here's more confirmation that these people know the truth. They don't want you to know it because what does that do? It confirms your belief in God. But they like to do these subliminals because the devil wants to be like the Most High. So he wants to trick you. So all the people in these pods are the people that took the blue pill, which turns them red. It's all opposites, right? Now, what is red represented? It is pure man. Red is pure man. Blue is fallen angel blood. So, the 99 pods you're looking at here are the 99 red balloons. And that represents sacrifice of man through deception. And this sacrifice and this deception is what steals souls. And then the souls, their spirit floats like a balloon attached to these pillars, the trees of the knowledge of good and evil. So in effect, the 99 red balloons become the fruit of these trees, don't they? Like fruit on the branches, harvested for sacrifice. That's what this object is doing right here. It goes around and harvests these pods on these trees. And the creepy fact that this is releasing during Christmas adds to the tree meme, doesn't it? Because what are on Christmas trees? Ornaments. What do ornaments represent? Fruit. Fruit of the tree. Now, let's keep going with this. Let's play this back one more time. Now, mass sacrifice is done most efficiently through things like plague and war. And there's been copious evidence of the red balloon meme going back on this channel to 2017. Bizarre, right? Now we'll decode this, of course, when it releases on Christmas or the winter solstice. There wasn't a whole lot more that I noticed in the actual trailer here. Let's just kind of flip through it here. I'll be back in the chat in a minute. And it's typical Matrix stuff, you know. They got Neo fighting, you know, lots of kung fu. And of course, here's what happens to them when they're locked in these pods, remember? They're harvested, tied into the mainframe. This almost looks like an alien up here, staring right back at her. Blue bloods versus the red bloods. I anticipate there's going to be lots and lots of symbolism confirming a lot of the things that we've discovered here. So we flip through this. There's like multiple realities there. So that's where it's all headed, you guys. I think there's one more image here I wanted to show you guys. I've got this in slow motion because you definitely have to with these trailers, because it's very, very quick. Very quick scenes, quick cuts. See how he's deflecting these bullets? It's because Neo's a magnet. Now, what does this mean? Well, we just figured it out. He's basically Molech. They got him looking very Jesus-like, of course, too. And you can almost see the magnetic field here when you put it in slow motion. There he's deflecting some kind of a missile coming at him. So they jump off this bridge. What is this, LA? What's that building? Looks familiar. Looks like LA, maybe. So that's the trailer. There's not much else in the trailer other than what you just saw there. All right, let's go back into the chat here. How are you guys doing this Monday? That catch up. There we go. Neo. Now, I'm sure I'm not the first person that has tied Neo's name to the neodymium magnet, but I'm almost sure no one's tied the copper blue bloods into it as well. So okay. I'm just reading through your chat here. The Wachowski brothers. Thanks, Bells. Iron versus copper. Iron-based blood is, of course, red. Copper is blue. There are real creatures on this planet that have copper-based blood. It's called hemocyanin. We've done some videos on that. And the hemocyanin molecule, it actually looks like a star. It's crazy. Let's just complete the circle here and show you that one more time. So here's the hemocyanin molecule, and it looks like a star. You can't make this up. Wish I could, but there you see it right there with a hexagon in the middle. Above and below. There's got to be a better image of that. Oh, here's one. Above and below. Those with eyes to see, you clearly see the above and below. Hemocyanin-based blood. Wow. All right. Now, we'll be back on here tomorrow with Between the Headlines. Gosh, it's, going into this school year and the holidays, they're really going to put the pedal to the metal with all this stuff. And, there's all this talk about lawsuits and all this, but I think that's just bread and circuses for the masses. And then, of course, they lose every time, just like Newsom in California. He'll probably stay the governor. They'll just make it look like, look, he overcame it. And then what that does is subliminally makes you comply. Okay. Just know that they have an agenda. And they might look like there's resistance, but they have to make it look like there's resistance. Because otherwise, if they just steamroll through, then they would have uprisings everywhere. Which is what's going on in France right now. Hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets on Saturday, and they have been every Saturday for months now, in defiance of everything. The stickers, the lockdowns, the mandates, the passports, everything. And it's interesting when you look at the headlines, they can't deny that what these people are doing in the streets, but they try to minimize it, right? So they say thousands of people. No, it wasn't thousands, it was tens of thousands. And if they wanted to do the headline right, they would have said there was over 100,000 people in the streets. But they didn't, of course. They just said there were thousands, which makes it sound like there's a small group of some people in a park somewhere. So, I don't know what's going to happen in France, if the people there are going to make any progress in turning things around. If I were them, I wouldn't be out in the streets. I would be around one place to make their statement. And they don't have to get violent. They don't have to do anything. They just need to be there. I'd be camping out there overnight. I would surround that place with 100,000 people. And I wouldn't leave until things changed. Where would that be? Right outside the president's mansion. That's where I'd be. So whoever's organizing these protests, you might want to redirect your efforts. You might get a lot more traction doing it that way. Anyway, love each and every one of you. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care and be safe. Thanks, Tom.